I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?
Peace, family. It's so nice to be with you guys for another installment of HAPI Talks. I'm excited to sit down with Baaba Heru again. And he's such a delightful young person because he's very young at heart. Let me tell you, I'll go more into that later. But first, let me just, recognize everybody that's up in the house. D. Joseph. We have Carol, this is an elder, Miss Carol. So it's nice. It's nice when our elders are showing up in our chat because that means that we're going to have a really good night. Okay. So I really appreciate them getting on and typing it in the chat. Miss Carol's like in her 80s. So that's what's up. Kwame, Elizabeth lied. Elizabeth has been hanging with us lately. That's what's up. Michael Guest. I see Rashamela Combo is in the house. And a special shout out to Tianja. Tianja was like the first person. I think Tianja got on maybe like an hour ago. It was like, hey, so peace to Tianja for being our first person to give us some shout out. Love VRT 706. Chauncey, nice to see you again, Chauncey. And Madam Emojo, it's nice to see you guys. I guess I should put some of this right up in the up there for the comments so you guys can see. All right. So if you have not seen HAPI, you guys know the spill. If you have not seen HAPI, the role of economics in the development of civilization, I need for you guys to go to our website. It's hapifilm.com. And let me just put that up first. Let's start off with that right there. hapifilm.com. And when you're there, there's a lot of things you can do. Okay. Number one, like I said, if you have not seen HAPI, make sure you pick up a copy. You can actually get a DVD copy, or you can just hit the button and stream it. Okay. And you can also see some of Taki Grant's other films there, Nubia and The Tekken. Also, while you're there, make sure you are signed up for the newsletter, because in a few weeks, we will be announcing something that you'll have like a chance to have like a little discount on. And if you're not signed up to the newsletter, you won't be able to get the link. And so we need for you to be signed up to the newsletter so you can get the link. Okay. And also the newsletter is packed with a lot of good information. We have Dennis Boatwright out of Detroit, Michigan, who's writing special articles about Pan-Africanism, for us. That's in there. We always give homage to an economic innovator, some financial one-on-one news. We have Harold Hill, that is not only one of our ICAT Tour supporters, he traveled with us, but he's also a financial whiz. And so he has been contributing to our newsletter. We also have a health article. Our supporter, Gordon Palmer, he is, the writer of the health article. So we have a lot of nice articles. And then we also have just like an update as to what's going on in HAPI world. As you know, you guys, when you sign on, you are agreeing and being part of the HAPI movement, which consists of 4 principles. Number 1, love Black people. Number 2, support Black businesses. Number 3, become more financially astute with your money. And number 4, teach the youth the truth. Every guest that comes on, what's up, Leo? Every guest that comes on is usually doing 1 or 4 of those things. And so it's really important that, as part of the HAPI movement and the HAPI family, that you've actually seen HAPI the movie, because then you'll understand where HAPI Talks comes from. Also, while you're on our website, so now you sign up for the newsletter, you have, you got your copy of HAPI. You can also purchase merchandise. We have, today, I have my HAPI shirt on. You can't really see it. It's really nice. It's nice little orange. But these are going to become vintage in a minute, because we got some new stuff coming. And so if you want to get some of the old stuff that nobody else will have, because we're not going to sell it anymore, you want to go ahead and roll over to hapifilm.com and get that. Also, family, you can pick up your copy of One Africa. It is a conference that we had in Detroit at the end of April as a counter to our conference that was canceled in Egypt. And so it's really important that you support and look at the One Africa conference. There's 13 hours of footage, live footage of our elders breaking down One Africa, power and unity. And we're going to be talking more about the importance of that conference in the next couple of weeks. But you can also pick up your copy of that. Now, YouTube subscribers, we are so close to 30,000 viewers, okay? We need for you guys to make sure you are subscribed. Sometimes I talk to you guys and, if I see you on the street or at different events, and when you check, because I always have people just check, see if you make sure you're subscribed, because I know you guys support us, but we know that there's a significantly amount of people who actually watch the HAPI Talks every week, but they're not actually subscribed and they don't really know. So because it'll come up in your feed, but when you're subscribed and you hit the notifications buttons, as soon as we go live, you get a notification saying that HAPI Film is live. So just make sure, family, that you are, if you're checking us out on YouTube, that you are actually subscribed. And also, if you're on Facebook, make sure that you're following us. If you want to, and let me get this up right here. Also, right here, if you want to show some happy love, right there on the Cash App is $HAPI Film. We'll keep that up. And if you're on YouTube, you can hit the super chat. If you are on Facebook, you can buy stars, which is like the equivalent to, doing super chat on YouTube. You can always go to our website and you can hit our GoFundMe campaign if you want to do that. But, if you support what we're doing, if you have a couple dollars, and if you want to, donate to us, we will gladly take your love gift, because the money goes straight back into our community with all the things that we're doing. It pays for our graphic artists. It pays for all the community things that we're doing. So, when you contribute, it's really important that you know that the money is staying within the family. Because if you've seen HAPI, you know that the Black dollar only stays in the community 6 hours. And so we're trying to, squash that over here in HAPI world. So any donation that you give, thank you, thank you, thank you. But know that it is going towards a bigger, it goes towards our community. Also, actually, I think that's it for all my announcements. So the cool thing about this guest, okay, and I said that he's young at heart, because he is, when he talks to you, he has lots and lots of energy. Every time he's been on HAPI Talks, he's had lots and lots of energy. So without further ado, I introduce you to Baaba Heru.
That's up, who, everyone.
Yes, how are you doing?
Let me greet you with the heart of life itself.
Wow. Yes. And family, I just want to say just a little something, which is interesting. So I really love, like, when the elders, because we just see them one here, maybe 2 or 3 coming in at one time. But, they all like talk to each other and they all give each other compliments. I mean, not all the time, but most of the time, they give each other compliments, and they're always looking at what other people, what each person is doing. So we had Dr. Obatashaka come on maybe a couple weeks ago, and Dr. Obatashaka, he's one of these elders who gets it in, like Baaba Heru. When they put their clothes on, they're putting on some clothes, right? And so when I called Baaba Heru and I was like, hey, you want to come back on HAPI Talks? He's like, oh yeah, I caught the show with Dr. Obatashaka. Oh yeah, he was a sharp dresser. So we started talking about this whole thing, but I just thought it was really cool that, Baaba Heru wasn't hating on nobody. He was just like, I like that brother's style, and so one of the things I want to talk to you about, or if you can just kind of share with the audience what you shared with me in terms of dressing regally, and like, what does that mean and the importance of that?
Well, we have been taught that the body is the temple of the divine, of Natur, of the Most High. So then, if your body is the temple where the Most High dwells, how do you dress the divine within you? The divine dresses this earth with an array of colors. But now we're coming into the winter, and I will bet you go on the subway, everybody is in that little black jacket and those dark jeans or something like that. Hardly any color.
Yeah.
And I know that men are told that when you dress in color, it's effeminate. Well, there's a feminine part of me, and there's a feminine part of you, brother, whether you like to admit it or not. And I always remind you, she sits on the right side of your brain, okay? And she gives you the imagination. She sharpens your intuition, and she loves color. So give her some color. And the sisters too.
Yeah.
They love color, so give them some color. Put some color in their lives. Put some color in your life. All these drab colors, I'm amazed. America is the richest nation on earth, but the people have been taught to dress down. I think it's a kind of arrogance that when you have money, you can just appear any way you want to appear. People don't seem to care how they look. And I think that it's a way to worship the Most High, to show that you love the array of color that the Most High has given you on this earth, and to reflect it in your dress. We wear the colors of the day because each color we dedicate to one of the divine principles, the Neteru. Like today, I'm in purple, but I also got a little bit of red because Haru loves red. And also the healer, Sekhmet, is my consort. I'm a keeper of the shrine of Ptah. So therefore, Sekhmet goes with Ptah. And Sekhmet, she loves red, you see. So I honor her also with red. And of course, today I'm in Ptah purple, because today is the day of Thor, the Lord of the Hammer, and that translates into a tool used by the builders. And the builders and the architects and the artists are all levicate their work to Ptah. You see, so I want to be in harmony. So when I put this on in the morning, it keeps me centered all day on that principle. It's a living and a walking meditation, if you will. Without even having to think about it, it happens naturally. Tomorrow I'll be honoring Het Haru. I'll be in some green and some yellow or some turquoise. You see, she's the divine principle of nurturing, of divine love, of music, of beauty. So I honor her. So it happens just innocuously. I don't even have to think about it. And Saturday, I'll be giving Set a little bit of attention here, because Set is likewise a principle of what? Of grounding, of gravity. And sometimes we need to be grounded. We like to fly as Haru, as you can see, but it's good to, so you see I have Haru coming towards me, and I put Haru on my left hand. Why? Because that's connected to the right brain, the feminine side of me. And Haru protects his mama. You see?
Oh, yes.
You see, they say that in the legacy that Haru Nech Ratef Henamut, that Haru defends his mother and father. You see, and so we are called upon to defend our divine legacy from all of the defamations and slander raised against the people and the culture now miscalled Egyptian. I say miscalled Egyptian because you will never find that word anywhere on any monument up and down the Nile. That word Egypt appears in no papyrus in any of the museums where they have taken our artifacts. You will never find that word. I like to honor the name that our ancient ancestors gave to the land, which is Kimet. And I also need to repeat and insist that it's not just Kimet, it's not just Kush, it's not just Kenset or Nubia, it's Smai Kawi, unity of the two regions, north and south, east and west, male, female, acid, alkaline, all those complements represents my Kawi. We claim an African origin, but we are here now in America. So we are Smai Kawi people. You notice I snap my tongue when I say Kawi. And I remind people that we have to get back our tongue because English has stolen so much of our capacity to articulate certain sounds. You know, like we say in Spanish, you say señor or señora. But now you can always tell when the Americans say señora or señor, you know. So it's good for us to study the speech of different African families in order to take back some of our capacity to articulate sounds, because sounds do matter. And the divine has given all people, each group, a sound. So they formulate these different languages. And I'm saying when we pray, we ought to begin, or when we even go into our meditation, we should always remember to articulate the names in our ancient language. And the oldest language for which we have records so far is in stone and on papyrus is the some say meruneter, merunetcher. And I like to use those sounds because those sounds bring me closer to the ancestors. Somebody say, well, Baaba Heru, how do you know that's how the ancestors spoke? They told me. Prove I'm wrong. See? So yes, it's very important what we put on our bodies. This is a divine temple that we've been sent here to experience this plane. But this is not our home. We live in our home because this earth is in cosmos, and cosmos is our home. Don't think that you are down there and that's up there. We are out here.
We are out here.
Yeah, we are out here, remember. And this earth, we call it Ka. It's a ship, and we are its crew. And right now, as you see, there's a mutiny going on, especially here in America, among the crew of this ship. They're disagreeing with each other. It's like being in an airplane and the right wing is arguing with the left wing. You know we're headed for a crash if we're not careful.
Crash. None of us are going to make it.
Okay, so I want us to remember that when you are flying, you need two wings. The birds have two wings. That's how the Wright brothers studied the birds, and that's how they were able to mount up and fly. And so if you want this nation to fly, and brothers and sisters, you have got a right to want this nation to fly because your ancestors' blood is here. It is deep in the soil of this land. Long before Columbus discovered that he was lost, you were here. And so, and then some of us came later. And now I see there's a quarrel going on between brothers and sisters who were born here and who grew up here, and people from the islands. And remember, a lot of us were here before we were found here, and then many of us came or were brought here by some very wicked people. But remember that those same people, some of them, began the abolition movement. But long before that Western involvement in what we now call in the enslavement trade, remember that your ancestors were enslaved by Easterners from the deserts of Arabia for at least 15 to 2,000 years before our European or Tamahu cousins got involved in the slave trade. And when the time came that these Northerners from England specifically brought about this emancipation, brought about the idea of freeing the enslaved people, they even sent ships into the Atlantic to stop this trade. And we must never forget that. You see, we have this habit of thinking that all people are wicked, that all those folks from the North are wicked. Some of them have been our allies, and we should never forget that. Okay, Kanye? Anyway.
Not the Baaba Heru talking about Kanye West.
Yeah. Oh, hey, listen. My heart is hurting today because of that young brother that was shot.
Oh, yes.
They said with friendly fire. But
Yeah.
that proves what Ye has been saying about all of this, what should I call it, violence going on in our community. Where do our brothers get the idea to face each other down with guns?
Yeah.
Who makes these guns? You see, this is something that we don't seem to, our lives should matter to ourselves first of all, before expecting our lives to matter to anyone else. And
Yeah.
when people see that we don't seem to care for our lives, and the sad thing about it is that the young brothers who are doing this shooting, they're all wearing the Christian cross. And that bothers me, because my father was a Christian. And I think that you brothers out there with what you call your Glocks and so on, you're disrespecting your mama and your grandmama who prayed under that cross. And you are now using that as a symbol to murder your brother. Something is wrong with that. And we have to look at that and begin to change that. I bet if you wore the Ankh, which is a sign of life, it'll be a massive contradiction shooting your brother if you're wearing an Ankh. Because guess what? Whether you like it or not, or whether you know it or not, there's going to be quickly rising in this place, in the world, a Ma'at militia that's going to bring about a calming of this madness. Because whenever untruth is on the horizon, you better believe that Ma'at is on the other horizon to correct the lies and distortions. But listen, I can go on and on. Let me.
You know what? Listen, I'm just letting you go on and on, because you hit like 9 different things as I'm listening to you.
Well,
yeah. This family, I just want to say, shout out to more people came into the house. Shout out to Ronnie. I see Vicky Redmond in the house as well. Ed Tellis, John Settles, and I saw another elder. So you know what, Baaba Heru, we have 2 elders that have been coming on and signing on. John Henry Staples from Riverview, Florida. He's been coming on from like day one. And I'm always amazed when, folks over 80 are getting on Facebook and then have the nerve to be typing some stuff up and responding. So shout out to our 2 elders. So, okay, Baaba Heru.
Well, first, I need to say this. As you can see, I'm wearing what we call the Nemesis headcloth. Yes. Now, some people may deride me and say, oh, he's trying to think that he's a pharaoh. Well, no, I'm not a pharaoh, because that word does not exist either on the temple walls, that word pharaoh. The ancestors, they're sometimes referred to the kings as the Pir'ah, which means the great house. But this headcloth was worn by the farmers in the fields. And later, because we were in a culture of farmers and gardeners, not shepherds, they were down in the south and further east. The fact is that that our ancestors wore the cloth, and you see these 2 peaks here? Those are the peaks of the lion, okay? Because the rulers always identify themselves with what? The lion. You will see on their thrones their lion paws on the thrones that they sat upon. And so then you have Nebhu, what they call the Sphinx, looking directly at the eastern horizon. So we have always identified with the lion. And I would bet something came to me in a meditation that when the farmers wore this Nemesis while they were in the fields, they fooled those who would try to come to bother them, because they thought that was a lion. Look at the ears, And so I wear this every so often, because I like to be faithful to the ways of my ancestors, the common people who had mud between their toes, because I grew up as a farm boy. I remember when I was about 8, 9 years old, getting up about 4 o'clock in the morning, even before the rising of the sun, and traveling about 2 miles out to milk our cows and be back and not be late for school. So my father, he really gave me a very powerful work ethic. And that's why people say, when are you going to retire? I said, when I leave to my star, that's when I'll retire. Until then, I'm going to continue to work to lift up my people with artifacts of our culture, and to surround ourselves with the beauty of our ancestral culture.
Yes. So and you know what, let's just go ahead and get started and talk about meditation. And family, please make sure you are liking, sharing, and commenting on this video. And you know, Jabari Ozazi, he's in HAPI, in the documentary HAPI, as well as Baba Heru, and he says that we should. You know, he came on the show. Maybe like a year or 2 years ago, and he's when he came on, he started talking about this whole idea about liking and sharing the video. And he was like, you got to send it to 3 people. He's like, you have to send it to 3 people. And so since he said that like 2 years ago, I've always, you know, every time I tell people to like and share the video, I'm like, send it to at least 3 people because Jabari Ozazi says so.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah, such a lovely man. So yes, and shout out to I see India Ari in the house. All right, India Ari.
India Ari is woo.
Ari's in the house. Unless it's like an imposter, I don't know. But
I met India Ari about
talking to her records for like forever. So that's what's up. Peace. Yes, and Tika and Ayana. All right, so I can say, you know what? This is the thing with our HAPI audience. I can just sit and talk to them forever because they are such.
I know.
So okay, so this idea of meditation. So when you and I were talking on the phone, and you started, you know, I had a lot of questions and I always ask people who I feel that have a really good connection to the source, right? And they talk about their meditation practices. And I'm always like, well, what specifically do you do? You know, to see if there's something that resonates with me to help me with my meditation practice, which a lot of people in the chat, we're always kind of talking about this idea of meditation and just being connected to the source so we know what we need to be doing here in this realm. So, if you could just give us a little like opener about what meditation is and how we use meditation.
Well, it's a way to access the fields of energy and the fields of power, the fields of the Netaru. And what do we mean? As you know, nowadays everybody is talking about the quantum fields.
Yes.
Well, did you know that your ancestors were into accessing these fields for thousands of years? And I was on Black Magic 363 the other day, and I spoke about it. I spoke about how to access these fields, how to enter into these fields of meditation. And our ancestors, when they wanted to access a specific energy, they would contemplate an image of that energy because it goes directly to the pineal. When they wanted to access Ptah, for instance, they would have this little image of Ptah or even a picture of Ptah. And it will remind them, oh, who is this I'm looking at? What is he wearing? That in my mind, I will take on the implements that he's wearing, and I will then be able to quickly access this energy because of the fact that the image goes quickly to the consciousness, you see. And that's why our ancestors used these images, and they were later vilified as being pagan and heathen and worshiping idols. No, it wasn't a worship of an idol. It was using a tool to prime the consciousness to access what you desire, the frame of mind that you desire. And so we would begin with the breathing, with the breath, because when you are breathing, you are accessing spirit. The very word spirit comes from the Latin word espire, which means to breathe. Okay? So you begin by gently calming yourself. Turn off your implements, your phone or whatever, and sit in a very comfortable position. No, you don't have to be cross-legged. It would be good if you could do that because it makes you more level to the ground. And then you begin to do your breathing, your deep breathing. Slowly begin to breathe. And you can even begin to do a hum of any of the particular sounds of the legacy that you like. Like, for instance, I love to chant Ankh because I'm the Ankh man, you know. So I like to begin with the You see, that alone sets the tone. The sound sets the tone. I'm affirming life itself. You see, so I'm moving into an Ong meditation, and first it begins with a contemplation, and then the idea is to allow the mind to just go almost empty, but that's almost impossible. So what you do, those of you who have trouble keeping your focus,
Yes.
which is really no focus, okay, because you're entering into a space of the all right. So you want to just look at whatever comes up in your conscious screen. Look at it as you would a movie and let it pass. Don't access it. Don't hold it. Okay, just let it pass as you focus more and more into a particular field that you want to impress and express within you. Okay, you go into your ebb, or what they call the heart, and you pull this energy into that region. You can even do the gesture of, like I use the left over the right, spirit over matter, as I go into deep breathing. Now, what I can do, if I stay long enough there, I will notice things start happening. Let me tell you something about talking about spiritual practice. It is not really fair for even us as elders to tell those who are listening, well, I do it this way. You have got to find your own way.
Yeah.
You have to lead yourself into discovery, because that's what the spiritual life, that's what the sacred science allows you to do. It gives you the freedom to explore, because you're not bound by programmed beliefs made in Rome or other places. You are accessing ways of thinking and being, and getting into your state of hetep, of offering, because you're offering your very breath, you're offering your spirit to the Neteru, to these divine principles that you can invite into your consciousness in a very profound way. So I would say to you that don't worry about, well, am I doing this right? Keep on practicing. And what will happen is, one of the best ways to begin is to try to hold, there is a window just before you go to sleep, a window where a vista of beauty can open up to you in a split millisecond. But you have to be able to hold that energy and hold that vision, and precisely, and just allow it, and just ride that wave of attention. All right. And I cannot tell you what you will see. I know what I see, but what I see is not meant for you. So I'm very careful in trying to teach people how to do it, because I want them to discover it for themselves. That's what the spiritual life demands, that you take responsibility for your own awakening. An elder can inspire you, but you've got to do the work. You've got to take the time and spend the time in order to access these energies, because guess what? They're not outside of you. They're within you. You were born with everything that exists in the cosmos. You are the microcosmic representation of the macrocosmic realm. That you have everything that's out there is in here. So Elon Musk, I know you're spending a lot of time trying to get to Mars, but guess what? Right about now, the spirit in this nation is full of Martians. Mars is the netter of war. We call it Herukuhuti, but our Herukuhuti is one of defense. So brothers and sisters, it's time to raise your Herukuhuti to defend your consciousness from the encroachment of those who would turn your mind into believing their lies and distortions. because they call it an alternate reality. But in the ways of my art, there's only one reality. That's the reality of righteousness, of balance, of order. And you must enlist yourself in that idea and hold on to Ma'atian consciousness so that that will become a way of life. I was speaking to a pastor just yesterday. We were sitting here and we were having a very deep conversation, because I always like to engage my beloved reverends and pastors in conversation, because I want to know why they are not teaching people that Yeshua, who they're now misnamed in the Latin vernacular Jesus, his name was Yeshua. We must have respect for a great teacher. Some say, well, he didn't exist. Well, I beg to differ. If your brothers and sisters, if enough people believe something exists, trust me, they give it energy. And for them, it does exist. So you must be very respectful. So in the story, it shows you how Yeshua his life was spared by the people of the Nile who wore this kind of headdress, who carried this ankh. Okay, his mother and father, according to the story, brought him into Kimet, now it's called Egypt, so that the prophecy will be fulfilled that out of Egypt have I called my son. You will notice that just on every time I appear on social media, I keep repeating the same thing over and over. I don't mean to bore you. Those of you who have heard me, you've heard it before, so you'll turn the TV off, you'll turn your device. Oh, Baba is saying the same thing. But guess what? There's someone out there, one person who may not have heard this, so I'm doing it for that one individual. I'm not concerned about having a throng of people following me. First of all, I discourage followers. I say, I'm a follower of Ma'at. You can walk with me the road of Ma'at, which we call Ma'at. But don't think I'm going to be your leader. You see, I'm one of those teachers who will share the knowledge that I have and chase you away. Why? I want you to grow your wings. I identify with the lion and the falcon, and both of those animals, they will chase their young out of the nest, so they will learn how to be strong. The lion to do the hunt, and the falcon how to fly. And so that's what I do. And I do not encourage followers. I encourage fellow travelers along the path of Ma'at. And it's such a wonderful thing when to meet each other and to realize that, hey, we have discovered this. And we give such great thanks to our elders, people like Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Ivan Van Sutton, and so many others who have shown us the way, Chashi McIntyre, and so many who have shown us the way. But I must say I was very disappointed when I began to practice and to teach people how to apply the principles of my art and how to access the energies of this great legacy. The scholars didn't like it. And I couldn't understand why. I kept saying, why you keep inspiring us if you don't want us to live this? Meanwhile, our people who call themselves Black people who call themselves Africans, you fight the inventors of other religions for your place in their home. Where let's say, for instance, if you read your Bible, and I was brought up in the Bible. Okay, my father was a minister. I am a minister's son. I'm a preacher's son, a preacher boy's son, And so I studied the Bible day and night. At least 3 times a week I was in church. Okay, and so now that I've discovered, which my father put me on this path, to discover this legacy of Ma'at, I remind my beloved brothers and sisters in the Christian faith, your book tells you that you are children of Ham, which is actually Kem, or Chom in the Hebrew, Chom, which means burnt, black, or hot, both in the Medu and in the Hebrew language. But look, you are in your uncle's house, because in the 3 faiths that comprise the Western and some of the Eastern access to religion, all under Abraham, Moses, and Yeshua. But all of them benefited from contact with the people of the Nile. Matter of fact, their lives were spared by these people. So don't you want to know who these ancient Nile Valley people were? What did they know? They were not into belief. They were into knowledge. They were into a sacred science, you see? And so that is what this path is all about. And I will tell you, please read the book by Kaba Kamene, Spirituality Before Religion. And for those of you who want to see access the cosmology of your ancient ancestors, our creation story, please get Shabaka's stone, a king of the 25th dynastic period from Kush, which they now call Ethiopia. This Shabaka, who, by the way, defended the Israelites from the Assyrians, okay? So my Hebrew Israelite brothers, I want to remind you that, we were your allies because Canaan is under the house of the one you call Ham. He's one of Ham's sons. So that too is in Africa. And don't be fooled by the Suez Canal that seemed to cut it off to create a thing, an amorphous thing called the Middle East. The middle of what? That's a middle of a lie.
Yes, I like middle of a lie. Okay, wait, Baba. We gotta go back because you dropping all these jewels are just dropping. I have all these notes here. There's something you said in the beginning, okay, and I'm taking it all the way back when you first started talking about meditation, and you said you have to prime the consciousness. You have to prime the consciousness. So what, can you just explain that a little bit more? Like, what do you mean when you're talking about, before we start to meditate, we need to prime the consciousness?
Well, to prime the consciousness so that you become unconscious. Because the idea is not to think, not to focus on anything specifically. However, if you want to, you see there are different kinds of meditation. Some people think it's just sitting quiet. Mm-hmm. But there are walking meditations, there are dancing meditations, there are singing meditations. People don't realize that. There was what was his name? Uspensky wrote about him, who used to have some weird ways to invite the meditation practice. So you have to find your own way. But one of the ways is to begin by quieting the noise up here, and the noise that exists outside. You should close your windows and try to get some quiet, because we have a lot of noise going on inside our head. Somebody did something to us yesterday. We are angry at that person. We take that into our effort. So it blocks the effort. The thing is to allow yourself to become empty, as it were. And you do that by your breathing. Breathing is what stills the movie of the mind, okay? The movie of your inner sight, okay? If you really want to go in a neutral place in order to specifically access a specific energy. It's all about accessing energy, but you have to allow it to happen without your conscious interference. You see, it's a blending with cosmos. That's what it really is. And when I used to travel to the islands, and I intend to go back soon, I used to meditate on the stars. I used to look at them. And especially during the winter period, I would love to look at Orion and Sa and experience the birth of the sun at the winter solstice. I know we call it Christmas, Christ Mass, but the fact is that you can actually access that state by actually looking at the stars. And that's part of the problem why we have in these cities, you can't see the sky. You cannot see stars anymore because these lights block out everything. So again, as I said before, if you can begin, open the Pertem Hru. Open it at any page. The Pertem Hru is like an oracle. You can open this book at any page and you'll find something there that was meant for you. Read that. Then sit and contemplate what is being said about what you've just read. And then if you find a rhythm in what you've read, begin to chant it, and
Yes. Yes.
force yourself to try to articulate as much as you may doubt Mr. Budge or Mr. Gardner's interpretation. Go ahead. It's about your intention. Use it, and it will be accepted because your ancestors will see that you are attempting to access their sounds, and they will gift you with inner vision. I promise you. But you've got to take the time to do it. And please get yourself a copy of the pyramid text. And whatever platform invites me, I'm going to repeat the same thing until you get it. And I want you all who are listening to spread this news. Please share this, what I'm saying. Okay? I cannot sit here and go through a scholarly dissertation. That is not the purpose for this. I know you love the scholars, but there are those of us who are both scholars and Abu. Abu is the word for priest. I don't like the word priest, but because it's not our word. And that's another thing. Please use terms, even one word. Replace certain words that you now use. Instead of saying OMG, say OMN. Oh, my nature. Oh, my nature.
Love that.
Okay?
Yes.
You see, we have to shift certain words, the usage of certain words, in order to take our culture back. This is a spiritual high culture. And they want your ancestors who are ever living in spirit, they want to hear these sounds again. Why do you think that we are catching hell? Worshipping with the words that have been put into our mouths. We have been made slaves to other people's expressions. It doesn't mean we should hate them, but let them keep what they got and let's go get what we got.
Yes. Let's go get what we got.
Okay?
Yes.
Your ancestors left it chiseled in stone in order for you to remember, to go and take it back. And guess what? You don't have to sit in. You don't have to march in, begging beggars for a seat at the table. Build your own table. Your ancestors have given you the Khmer print. I was about to say the word black, and that's a beautiful word. We've made it beautiful, but check out your dictionary and see the negative energies that word is meant to express. But there's something strange about us, how we take pejorative words and we try to make them into words of endearment. And that's why I say, as I last said on Brother Richard's show, that N word, I could give an N word. If the brothers would call each other Negus, Negusti, or King of Kings, you think it'll be easier to shoot a king? Yeah. If you called yourself Neteru, do you think it'll be easier to slay a Neteru, a divine one, or come and get you in your dreams? Huh? Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
You see, but because of we have taken certain words that were meant to curse us, words that were some of the last sounds we heard as we were being lynched, and we have made it into terms of endearment. Something is wrong with that. There's something not too good about that we are engaging in, and we want to make it just all right. No, it's not all right. As a matter of fact, young people, you are offending your mothers. You're offending your grandfathers and your grandmothers who remember when that was a terrible word that killed their sons. Emmett Till heard that word before that thing was put around his neck and he was thrown into the river, okay? So please, let us begin to use terms because, and you, my beloved brothers and sisters in the hip hop world, you got to shift something. I don't care that a producer may say, no, change that to this verse. Put that N word in there because the people in the street are going to like it. Yeah? Oh, yeah? What you're doing, you're creating your own death. You're preparing your brother to hate you by using a hateful word, whether you know it or not. That word has so much blood on it that you're spreading the blood around? Why don't you find a word? Why don't you find words from your ancestral language, the Native American language? Because many of you were here, even though there's some people walking around with the $5 tickets calling themselves Indians.
You said the $5 ticket?
Yeah, that's what they call $5 Indians. Yeah, that's what they call them.
Wow.
You know, pretending to be who they are not, you know, and the dark-skinned ones have been put in the background like they do. What is the matter with people who have a problem with color? What is the matter with those people? There's a kind of a madness, a kind of a craziness about people like that, you know, and they ought to be put in straight jackets and taken away somewhere to sit down somewhere. You know, why are you going to hate that which you came from? You just lost it because the sun removed its kiss, because you moved to a place where there was no sun, and now you come back among the sunful ones, and you are going to hate them for having what you don't have. It's more envy than it is hate, is it not? Really, that's why you will risk skin cancer to get the robe of Ra, wouldn't you? Okay, and then you got the nerve to hate on those who are so blessed by the robe of Ra. Something is wrong with that. Okay, but my sister, you know, I invite my brothers and sisters to really take this legacy seriously. It has been taken. It has been. I need to have one moment, please. Please, I need one moment.
Okay. Okay, family, we'll wait for Baba Heru to come back. While we're waiting, I want to thank everyone for the Cash App love. Shout out to all you guys' comments, you know, about Baba Heru. He's getting it in. It's these little one-liners that he's throwing at us that are really sticking to you. And I love that you guys are repeating them and putting them in the chat. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The robe of Ra. Make sure that you are liking and sharing this video. And family, please, if you are if you know, please feel free to hit us up on the Cash App love, or if you're on YouTube, you can do the super chat. If you are on Facebook, you can do you can buy stars. It doesn't matter. Whatever you do is going back into the HAPI movement. All donations, the emails that you send, you know, even the critiques, you know, can you get such and such on? All of those things help us with this HAPI movement. So please, family, thank you, you know, for anything that you are contributing to our platform. We are very appreciative. Okay, Baba Heru is back.
Yes, indeed.
Wait, whoa. You got to have the big screen. Got to get the big screen.
My sister, I don't mind sharing the screen with you at all.
But listen, let me tell you, shout out to you for bigging up Cabernet. And, you know, I love that. You know, this is, I don't think that we really understand what's going on right now. And we really need to kind of take a step back and appreciate, you know, some forms of technology that's really helping us, because we're able to get insight. You know, when these elders come on, they're breaking stuff down, but we also get to see how you guys are handling each other, which gives us inspiration to handle each other.
Oh, listen.
So, yeah. And I love what you said about walking with you. You know, I think that's why a lot of people are in this chat and are supporting you in this way, because there's something to be said about someone who will ask you to join with you versus standing here and saying, do this, do that, you know? So, you know, thank you. Professor James Small is another person that's like, come with me, you know?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Dr. Obatashaka, come with me. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
Yes. I think that we ought to be, there should be no jealousy, no throwing of shade at each other. That is schoolyard nonsense, and grown men should know better. But I see that we are realizing that, and we are stopping that nonsense. But in the early days when I got involved in this, in even teaching this legacy, someone said, it was up at City College, and I was slated to do a presentation at ASCAC. I was slated to be on a spirituality panel, and I was also slated to be on a cultural panel, because in those years I had a band, the Kimet Rising Ensemble, where I used to play my guitar, and we had a whole band of beautiful musicians singing the songs that I wrote. And so I was called into the office by an elder who said, Baba Heru, we have decided to cancel the spirituality panel, and also we have decided to cancel the cultural presentation that you were supposed to do. And I looked at this elder sitting there telling me this, and I knew where it was coming from, because it was said, and I'm going to repeat this, and I'm ashamed to repeat it. We don't want no West Indian taking over our movement. Okay, now I know that's a terrible thing to share with you, but you see, people are after me to write a book, and I have been somewhat hesitant, because some of the things that I would be forced to share under Ma'at, you don't want to know about some of the ways that some of us who wanted to practice this have been treated by those who just want to lecture about it. And the thing is, these lectures inspired us. Their books inspired us. But when we started to practice, they accused us of starting up a church. Well, it may have been that some of it have seemed like church because that was what we were accustomed to. And in order to get the attention of our brothers and sisters, we may have formulated some of the ways in which we gathered in that, using that as a model. But if you just, like, for instance, you go to the temple to the shrine of Ma'at or the temple of Anu, and the teachers will get up there and they will give a talk on this or that subject, on this or that netter, on this or that principle. You see, so they are teaching, not preaching. They are teaching, and that is something that that we need to see more, because I don't want to see the churches destroyed at all. My father was a churchman. I want to see them transformed by bringing in some of the teachings that were left by your Hamite ancestors. You know them as the children of Ham, okay? The ones up and down the Nile Valley. You must begin to teach that, because, as I reminded people just about 8 days ago, that the Egyptian government is having their children to learn the Metu Neter from the age from 4th grade up to 12th grade. And they're going to discover some things about the people whose language they are studying, and it's going to affect their belief patterns. So Egypt, I warn you, the children that you are schooling into this, some of them may learn the language in order to tell lies or to shift the interpretation of what's being said in the stone. But you can bet there are going to be some enlightened ones among those students who's going to say, oh no, something is wrong here. I've been worshiping a totally male concept of deity. Where's the mother? Oh, where is the mother? She has become a ghost. Yeah, a holy one, albeit said. The fact is that in this ancient legacy, divine is always expressed in masculine and feminine, side by side. Okay, so if you do pray to a mother, father of all creation, and remember to utter the mother's name. That Mut, that divine mother, Mut, the very word for mother in the ancient language, Mut, is the root of the word mother. It's also the root of the word matter, because the quantum fields give birth to matter, especially the ones that are transmitted by thought. Okay, remember that. So, please pick up your Pertem Hru, the book of the coming forth today from night, willfully mislabeled the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Please pick it up and study. Study that book, and you will be surprised how things will begin to come into your consciousness if you give it enough time. Trust your spirit. Trust the spirit. And you will see things, doors will begin to open up in your consciousness that you would not believe. Please, I don't know how else to put it into words. I don't know how else to describe what you will discover. Because if I did, I'll just be describing the things that I see. But you have your own sight, you have your own eye. And I want you to go into this work and to find out what is there for you. I can open it up to a certain page and I will discover something that was meant for me with that day. And you do the same thing, okay? And don't forget, you have to arm yourself with a moral code. I have here the 42 covenants of Ma'at.
Yes.
Okay? To live, because we have the 42 confessions of Ma'at, which you would find in many papyri throughout the museums of the Western world. I went to England just to look at the papyrus of Anui. They pronounce his name Ani, but his name has a U in it, those three little dots or those three little hash lines that indicates that there is a U that's present. And I would bet that the people of the temple of Anu named their temple after the Anu people from the forests of the south, of the southern part of the continent. The little people known as the Twa, the little people miscalled pygmies today. They were the Anu people. So in the papyrus of Anui, that ancestor who was the overseer of the granaries of the temples of Anu, he did a fabulous book, which they called the Egyptian Book of the Dead. But there are many of those that were found in the resting places of our ancestors. And Mr. Budge went over there when he heard of this fantastic long papyri that was found in the resting place. It was composed in the 18th dynastic period, which is pretty recent. And but you can go back and find even older ones. And also, I also would invite you to check out the Palette of Narmer. Look it up in your go to Google it and look at the Palette of Narmer, both sides. One day I'm going to come on and I'm going to introduce to you a method in which you can see what Narmer was setting a pattern for the reformation of your consciousness, telling you how to win before you fight, the way Muhammad Ali used to do. Okay, and I would like to share that with my audience at some point, because that's what I used to teach in Chemetics 101. If you would see Chemetics 101, the little booklet that I created, you would laugh. You said, Barbara, hey, what is this? You see, I taught Chemetics 101 in the oral way, the way from mouth to ear, the way we used to do in our villages, the way we still do in our villages in Africa. In the Nile Valley, the priests and priestesses, the initiates, used to get on barges, and the people would gather at the shore. And you hear about passion play in the Roman Church. Well, the passion plays were conducted on these rafts. So the stories of our legacy was being told. And so people who could not even read would be able to access this information because there were these dramas that were played out, like the battle between Haru and Set was conducted, and the finding of and the dismembering of Haru's body, the search for the parts of Asar's body, that was all acted out, so the people were able to ingest the stories. We have to get back to that again.
Yes.
Through the rites of passage, we should teach our children these stories. We teach one story every Sunday, but there's an earlier story than that. Okay? I'm saying to you that the concept of the Christ is older than 2,000 years ago, my beloved brothers and sisters. You have to know this. I'm not saying that the personage of Yeshua is not true. It's true for those who believe it, and we must respect them. because when you come to share this knowledge, you've got to be so careful not to offend the people that you're bringing it to. And so when you let them know that the Christ is within, waiting to be resurrected by you, you would be amazed at the reaction that people would have when you tell them that. But it's true. The light that you must bring, that you must dawn and bring within your consciousness, is waiting for you to call forth this light. And there are many names that your ancestors have given you. Sisters, those of you who want to learn the art of cooperation, oh, you've read in the book of Mary and Martha, but they were preceded by Ast and Nebuchadnezzar, these two women who not only made the resurrection of the first crucified Savior possible, but they put his body back together again, piece by piece, and aided his resurrection, whereby in the story that you know, when the two women got to the sepulchre, the Savior had already risen by himself without the aid of anyone. But you see, Asa experienced the second birth through the hands of the women. That means that the spirit of cooperation should exist between our sisters. One of the things that has caused me so much pain is I know that brothers fight each other all the time, but one of the things that caused me so much pain is to witness how mother fights daughter, how sister fights sister. And you are the ones that can make the difference, because those attitudes are what you're making your egg out of. And in your womb, these attitudes are being held there. And the fetus is swimming in a pool of anger and hatred of each other. And you're bringing forth into the world some scoundrels and some hateful beings because of that. Because the womb takes in everything. You've got a magical heaven inside of you, my beloved sisters. You can make so much of the difference. You don't like the way that man is acting? Find out what were the conditions of his birth. Find out what his mother was going through while she was bringing him into the world.
Okay, Baaba Heru, listen, I'm going to probably say this, that you are probably the only person, or if you're not, like, you're the top two people I can think of right now. It's the way you phrase things. It's your language that makes it so inviting, and we get it. You know, you said magical. It's a magical space. When you were talking about the birthplace in our wombs, that it's a magical place. You know, it's just I just appreciate you. I'm saying all this to say that I really appreciate you, but I wanted to ask you, to kind of elaborate on this idea of when you talked about, the two women and, this form of cooperation. Because when we were talking about, meditation, you were saying how, we have all of these netchers that we can call on, and that when we sit down, we should call on them, to come sit with us. Can you just talk a little bit more about that? I can't say it the way you would say it. I don't have all your rich language.
I said it's within us, and so we should call it out because it's there.
Yeah.
It's not something we're calling from outside of ourselves. Mm-hmm. We have a heaven within, and all of these forces that we think are out there are in here. I said that, and I told Elon Musk he must take some time to discover that inner journey so he can save himself from using up so much fuel and provoking another war in the cosmos. Mm-hmm. You see, so again, I said that, by the way, I was listening to Ye talk about the abortions and that the babies come out of the woman's stomach. No, not the stomach, Ye. It's the womb. The stomach, if the baby was in the stomach, the baby would be digested. It's in the womb, my beloved brother, not the stomach. Yeah, the stomach seems to protrude because the womb is expanding what is inside of it. Okay? So please remember to use the proper terms because you are a teacher. So teach the people the correct terms. teach the young people the correct terms, because young brothers, every time you fire your pistol and kill another brother, you are insulting the womb of the mother who nurtured that life for 10 moons. You are destroying something within yourself. Or you think that you've gotten rid of somebody who you are competing with, but you've just killed a part of yourself, because guess what? We're all connected. And I say that to all America. When I see parties now fighting each other, remember, you're fighting yourself. You're fighting yourself and other nations who have some stuff against you because of what the battlefields that you've established throughout this world. They're waiting to see you crash. And guess what? You are making it easy for them by your wars, left side against right side, right wing against left wing. You are causing the downfall of a beautiful experiment called America. And I say a beautiful experiment without any contradiction. Why? I came here to this country, and I will tell you, I could not carry this in Saudi Arabia. There are some countries that I could not carry the Ankh in. But because of what your ancestors have paid for with their lives, I was able to have the freedom to carry this. Even when I was a police officer, I was able to carry it over my handcuff case. And I remind people that they had me psychologically tested.
So now you started to talk about this idea of Ma'at. Can you just explain, because when we were chatting before, we were saying, and I let me tell you, I have to second what you said about there are certain lecturers and certain elders that that talk about certain things, but they're not really practicing those things for themselves, but they're really good at lecturing it. So can you just talk a little bit about this idea of Ma'at and how can we actually practice it? Like, what does the practice of Ma'at look like?
Well, let's define what Ma'at is. There are at least 7 or 8 or 9 words used to tell what Ma'at means. Ma'at, actually the proper pronunciation is Ma'at.
Ma'at.
Ma'at, yeah, because it has the cubit, which is the Ma, which is the male aspect of the word. You see, there's a male aspect to Ma'at. It's Ma'a. You see, and it's a cubit. It's a rectangle with a slant on the side. Okay, and that is resting inside of a sickle for cutting grain in the harvest. Okay, because that is how you will gather the truth. It's a harvest of truth that you're cultivating. So Ma'at is the ethical code by which your ancestors lived and conducted their lives. And it was taught from the time they were little children, so they would know how to behave in the village. And if you look if you get pictures of the temple walls, and you will see all the people, you would have to look hard and long to find one pot belly on the ancestors on the temple walls.
That's true.
Okay.
Very true.
If you go to Kimet, you will see, you can go from temple to temple. Even the craftsmen, they're sitting up straight. Yeah. They're not crossing their legs to warm and kill their sperm brothers, trying to look what you call sophisticated, You are warming your testicles and killing your sperm. So they were sitting, their backs were straight, because when your back is straight, it allows the energy to flow uninterrupted up and down, your kundalini energy to flow in a very profound way. But when you slump, I see brothers sitting on the edge of their behind with their legs all spread open. It's not a good look, my brothers. When I look at the NOI, and I see those brothers, they sit just like the kings of Kemet sit, with their legs together and their backs straight like soldiers. That's why their communities were free from a lot of nonsense, okay? Because you have to look a certain way. When I was a police officer walking the beat, my uniforms were tailor-made. I never bought stuff off the shelf. I always had them tailor-made. And I found that when you look the part of an official, when you dress that part, I used to have the 3 creases in the back of my shirt sewed in and 2 in the front of my shirt sewed in. Even my pants had the pleats sewed in. So when I walked, it invited respect and my posture was straight. My father taught me how to walk. He said, look at that horse. Look at how it kicks its leg forth. And you put your each step you make should be in the middle of your nose, so that when you walk majestically, not just with your legs all flap open, your toes out here flapping. No, you are born from a people with grace. Cultivate that way again, my brothers. When I speak on social media, I address a lot of what I have to say to brothers, because we are causing a lot of havoc, not only to ourselves and each other, but to our women, and it has to stop. It really must stop. And the only way it's going to stop is for us to embrace this ancient way of being and dealing with each other, Mayet. Okay, so that symbol that you like to wear as you murder each other, those names that you call when you go and get your award at the BET Awards or whatever awards they're giving, and you say, well, first I want to thank God. Don't you know a name in your ancestral language to invoke besides that word coined by your German cousins? Huh? Don't you have any respect for your own ancestry? They are waiting for you to say their sounds. I keep repeating this over and over again. And I'm going to keep on repeating it until you're sick of it. Oh, you're going to bring Baaba Heru on? I've heard that before. I always have a little something new to share.
Yeah, always.
You got to listen for it.
Always. And sometimes, you know what, Baba? Sometimes you say things and, we hear things. It's just like when we're reading something. I've read books 3 and 4 times and get something totally different out, because whatever point I am in my life, those things kind of resonate and come to the, come right, right in front of my face. And so you may say things all the time. And everybody, when you were saying that, everyone in the chat was like, I'll listen to you all the time. Like no one's agreeing with you when they're saying, turn you off. No one's saying that, but sometimes you say things and it's like, wow, I got that. Okay. Even though you said it, other times before. So
yes, indeed.
You're reaching more than your one person that you're trying to get. I'm just saying.
I hope so, because that's why I able to come on here to share something that at least one person needs to hear. And I'm glad to hear that there are others,
Yes.
And so in keeping with that, I said in the 42 Covenants of Ma'at, I address some of the things that we are indulging in that we have to begin to look at. Not do I sexually molest or tolerate the sexual molestation of the body and mind of any child. When I say that, that is a terrible thing that's going on, as you well know. There's a verse in a holy book that says, suffer the little children to come unto me and forbid them not, for of such is the kingdom of heaven. Well, the children come, and some of them do suffer. And I'm sure that some of these so-called priests who are molesting these children quote those words to them to make it easy to have the child put their guards down. And then the parents are discovering that the people that they trust to take care of the souls of their children are molesting them. And once again, it's a terrible thing that's going on, because as a result, you have people who are confused out here about their sexuality, and you're persecuting them, and that is wrong. Because I'm going to say once again, you don't know what that person has been through that has caused them to turn that way. But it's not only that the molestation, not only the churches and in some of the homes, okay, it's going into the foods. It's in the fertilizer. You see all the fruit without seeds? That's you are being neutered and neutralized.
You've been neutered and neutralized. Yeah, I don't eat fruit with no seeds.
Something is wrong with that. I
Yeah.
saw these beautiful grapes today. I was walking down a canal street, and I said, by the way, they have any seeds? They said, no, the people wouldn't buy fruits with seeds. Oh my gosh, so now the people don't want any seeds in their fruit, and they do not know that they're killing themselves. Because guess what? Even after it's picked, the seed that is the nucleus of the fruit continues to send energy throughout the whole fruit. So now you're eating seedless fruit. So you're eating really nothing but a lot of sugar. And some of these people, they put sugar at the root of the plants. That so now sugar is coming up in the fruit. Oh, it's so sweet. Well, guess what? People are inviting you to have a diabetes. Okay,
Mm.
you better believe. Um, I want to share a few of these covenants of Ma'at, which you can download from shrineofptah.org. Or you can write to me and I'll send one to you that you can frame and put up in your home and share with your friends, especially your ministers. Okay. I love my ministers, brothers and sisters, and I want them to give honor to their ancestors, not just to Rome, not just to King James, not just to England, because a lot has been plagiarized from your ancestral words. But please do not think that I would disrespect your Bible. I could not do that because there's too much African wisdom in there that has been stolen and put in there. And that's part of the reason why you cannot put that book down and you cannot insult that book because there's a lot of wisdom in there.
Yeah.
I remind people the book of Proverbs, read the Proverbs of Ptah-hotep, which existed thousands of years before the Proverbs that appear in your book. And I'm going to remind you of another thing. When Yeshua was being baptized by John the Baptist, a word came out of heaven saying, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased." You read that in your Bible. Well, guess what? It was plagiarized from the ceiling of the pyramid of Unas in the city of Saqqara, where it said of the king Unas that a voice came out of heaven saying of that king, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased." The exact words were plagiarized and put in King James's book. You've got to know, my beloved brothers and sisters, that you had words before the word that you were given by your missionary that came to make it soft for you to betray your loyalty to your ancestral words, to your ancestral teachings. Yes, some of those brothers and sisters on the continent assisted in putting you on board those ships. But guess what? Some of us came from the West and went back to enslave your minds with stuff that was created in Rome by Constantine at the Nicene Conference, the not so nice Nicene Conference.
Yeah. And wait, Baba, what is the name of the website? You said
The shrineofma'at.org.
okay.
That's about the only thing that you'll find up there is these 42 covenants of Ma'at, because I don't want you to avoid it. So you can download it, make a copy of it, hang it up in your bedroom, in your bathroom, and give it to your children to read. For instance, look here. Not do I participate in African genocide or tolerate agents who defame all indigenous life and their spiritual practices. Not do I indulge in genocidal gun terror in the streets and homes of my community. Not do I protect by my silence those who steal from or do violence to each other in my community. And I know our communities have been scattered through what they call gentrification. It's more like recolonization.
Yes.
Not do I join in any group which requires hazing or harmful initiations that cause injury or shame to another human being. My beloved Greek brothers and sisters, I'm not beating up on you, but I'm saying to you, some of the people that sat in Chemex 101, when they went to college, They joined your fraternities and sororities, and guess what? They were teaching you things that you never were taught by those who initiated you. They did not even know that these things existed. Okay? So you really have just copied some of the elementary knowledge that we, the people of Kemet, taught to the Greeks, because Alexander and his peons, they raided all those temples throughout Kemet and brought those books back to Alexandria. So you're reading Plato? Where do you think he got his education? Where do you think that the Romans learned the art of the bath? Huh? You see, you don't credit your ancestors with what they have done for strangers who've now turned against you. Okay? So look at it. Not do I indulge in ageism or tolerate racism. Yeah, I found sometimes I'm walking the streets and I would nod at a brother. I always greet my brothers and sisters. I give them a nod. And some of them look right through me because they may be angry that their daddy wasn't there. And so they see that daddy, that absent daddy in me, with my little gray beard now forming in under my chin. And so that is something that concerns me. The hatred we seem to have for each other. We can't even give each other the time of day. And I make sure that I always greet brothers and sisters as I pass them. How you doing? I know it's almost like an innocuous, because do I really care how they're doing? Yes, I do. But all I want is a response. That's why I'm giving it. So you must do the same thing. Don't pass a brother on the streets without giving him that nod, acknowledging his or her humanity. Okay? Not do I indulge in self-hate, self-deprecation, or music whose lyrics promote violence and denigrate our women. A lot of that is going on today. Okay? And I'm going to repeat something I just said at another platform. Sisters, with all that twerking, you know what you're doing? You're drawing just attention to your backside. Let your man deal with your face. Let him look at your face. Oh, doggy style? Well, the back of her head interests you? Huh? Really? I would suggest you see the beauty and the passion of her face as she ascends into the realm of that higher consciousness that you are bringing her to. But at the same time, what name is she calling? Is she calling on the name of that person that she worships on Sunday? Or is she calling your name in her ecstasy? You can make a difference, my brother. You better make that difference, because our women, my beloved sisters, look, when men talk about polygamy, you get so angry, you froth at the mouth. But you know something, I hate to say this, but I must say it. You have 3 husbands. You have the one that you left as you went to church. He's at home looking at TV. He's looking at baseball, football, or basketball. And you go and worship your second husband, the one that is on the pulpit, behind the pulpit on the wall, who don't look like the one that you just left at home. And then you have the one who is preaching to you about the one on the wall, telling you that is your savior, okay? And you're paying him to tell you that that one on the wall is got your soul. So the one at home got your body. You give your soul to that one, and your money to the one who's telling you that that one who's got your soul. Something is wrong with that. So I want you to suggest that you get images of a Christ who look like your husband, and maybe it will invite him to come to his higher self. Worship each other. Worship the divinity that resides in each other. Brothers, worship the Ast. Worship the Het Haru in your divine queen. Okay? Sisters, worship the Haru. Okay? Worship the Tahuti, the wisdom in your king. And if he don't have it, tell him about it. Share it with him. You are there to teach each other, to lift each other up.
Yes.
with the finest information that you can find that will inform your sperm, my brothers, and that will inform your egg, my sisters. You can, instead of complaining about these men, you make them. You got them inside of you for 10 moons. Don't tell me that if you cultivate a certain mental attitude that you cannot transform what you're bringing into the world and make them warriors for truth, righteousness that no one can mess with. You have the power, women. You do. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't. You've got that power. It was put into you by the divine. If the divine is within you, well, go to your mirror and look at the face of the divine. It's you, my sister, not some ghost, okay? It's you.
Yes.
And if you doubt me, you ought to pick up that book, Sacred Woman, written by my then wife, Queen Afua. And
yes, she was just on the show last
Oh,
week. She was just on last week. You know, you guys have to come on together.
now you started some stuff. But guess what? We got along just fine. No, we do, because
Yeah.
guess what? We're both Garveyites. Our fathers were both joined the Marcus Garvey movement in their youth. And we are both the children of Marcus Garvey's followers, you see?
Oh.
And we are both Leos. She's the 13th and I'm the 9th of August.
Oh.
Okay.
Nice.
And one of the emblems of Ptah was as a lion, and Sekhmet, his consort, is a lioness. So you see, it was made in heaven, but as they say, sometimes unions are for a season, a reason, or a lifetime.
Yes.
And the reason was to come together to give a gift of healing to our people.
Yeah, and that is one beautiful gift. And I'm telling you, yes, and I think that you can have a temporary union here on the HAPI Talks. I'm just saying, you know.
Well, we can talk about that.
Yes, yes.
I'd like to talk about the writing of that book, how she used to wake me up at midnight to ask me questions, and I would fall back asleep. And,
yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've told many times how I took her into the shrine of Ma'at. I mean, the shrine of Sekhmet, where she received her emblem of Sekhmet the healer. And Dr. Pukrum received her ankhs in that same place too. I put the ankh in her hand in that same place.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. You see, so I've been at work, and people don't know this, but I was initiated in the king's chamber inside the copper of the Great Pyramid of Khufu.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm not playing with this legacy. I drank the water at Abu, Elephantine, at that cataract. The water was running so fast, and I was baptized by two sisters who I did not even know was coming on the trip. I was baptized in the waters of the Nile. And when I took the cup and I drank some, they said, "Baba, you're going to get sick." I said, "That's impossible. I'm going to be rejuvenated by this water." So the Nile is inside of me. And brothers say, your ancestors are from West Africa. Yeah, no, they came through West Africa. My real ancestors are from the stars. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm the child of the Star Command. You better believe. And so are you, if you're not afraid to claim your star origin. Neil deGrasse Tyson told you you're made of stardust, and he knows some stuff about out there. Okay?
Yeah, he knows a little something, something.
He knows a little something, something. But your ancestors knew even more.
Yes.
And they left it for you to access, you know. Not do I touch the body temple of a woman without her conscious consent. You heard me, brothers? Her conscious consent. So you can't be dropping stuff in her drink the way some Hollywood people have done and taking advantage of her helplessness. That what kind of a you're indulging in what they call raping the dead? You don't do that to a woman. You don't get her high on booze, and because now her defenses become loose. That is not fair to her. You know, and then when she gets pregnant, then you don't even want to go with her, you know, to terminate the pregnancy. No, it's all on her. It is not fair, the weight that you put on our women because you are so loose with your sperm. Brothers, you have to learn how to hold your seed. There's a practice, it's very easy to do, okay? And it'll keep you virile until you're in your 90s and your hundreds, okay? Stop your urine as many times as you can when you go to the bathroom, and you will strengthen the muscle of your whole back process, okay? Let me just give you a little hint. I once did a lecture on the Menu factor. You know, Menu, the one they call Min, who has that erection on the temple walls?
Yes.
There was something that he was doing that invited an energy to rise up, but not to be thrown away. Rise up to be contained, to spread it throughout his body, that living essence of millions, perhaps billions of life essence, which you call sperm. Those little tadpole-looking things with a long tail, guess what? You eat so much crap that some of them are coming out with 2 tails. Some of them are coming out with 2 heads. Some of them can't even make it to anywhere near the egg. They die swimming. Even since they're swimming downhill, they're dying because they've got no energy, because your thoughts, when you are making myrrh, you are not making myrrh, you're cultivating an energy. You are plowing in a field of life. That's what you're doing, my brothers, a cosmic field, because the internal of a woman's womb is a heaven where the stars come to reside, to then come into this world to do its work. Yes, you are stars, and don't you ever forget it. It's your purpose and your responsibility to shine.
And your responsibility to shine.
It's your responsibility to shine. Don't let anyone put you down because they say, oh, he's a brainiac. Yes, be a brainiac, because your ancestors were. So many of the things that you use today were given to you by people whose patents were stolen so that other people get the credit for these inventions. Okay? Not do I fail to support, instruct, and encourage and protect the children of my community. Not do I fail to teach the youth of my community to learn, live, and uphold the practice of these sacred Ma'at covenants. Not do I fail to support with my economic power the farmers, the gardeners, the health practitioners, the artists, entrepreneurs, builders, craftswomen, and craftsmen of my community. You know something? Many of our teachers that complain how people don't want to pay them say, I shouldn't have to pay for spiritual teachings. I beg your pardon. You pay through your teeth for lies that they're telling you about yourself. You better be sure that you write something that your professor can agree with so you can get an A. It's a false bunch of crap. I've lectured in colleges that I never put my foot inside of them because I wanted to educate myself. Okay? I had a very basic so-called formal education in the British schools of the islands. But after that, and I got, I think, 30 credits at John Jay when I went through the police academy. And I know I mentioned that several times. Oh, he was a cop? No, I was a peace officer. I brought the peace. That's why my gun stayed inside a holster for 20 years. Okay? I hate guns. Okay? But go ahead. Knock yourself out. Do you manufacture them? They're brought into your community and you use them to kill your brothers and sisters? Something is wrong with you doing that. Okay? You think that makes you so strong, huh? You think it makes you... Let me not go on about that. Not do I mistake letters or degrees from any college or university as indicative of an authentic and holistic education. Why is it that I've had to teach people with degrees who know nothing about this legacy? People with PhDs and master's degrees. And don't include Brother Jabari in that, because he was one of those rare ones who's got all the degrees, him and his wife, but they also got degrees in the knowledge and the wisdom of their ancestral ways. And that twin type of education will put you on the top of the world. Trust me. Okay? So you can go to college and learn to be a doctor, learn to be a scientist, and all of these things. But you have got to go to the walls of your ancestors and learn what was written there. It's still waiting for you to wake up. Okay? Not do I dress or exhibit behavior which invites or provokes disrespect, shock, or pity. Oh, I see you wearing those jeans that are torn at the knees and torn at the butt. Guess what? You're mocking your sharecropper ancestors. And the people who have made that into a fashion, watch how they're going to turn around because they really love seeing you in rags. It reminds them of what their ancestors did to you, and you are cooperating with them. Something is wrong with you falling for that crap, okay? Not do I fail to honor my divine mate, my financial responsibility to the household, and bequeath and safeguard an inheritance. Okay, these are some of the 42 new covenants of Ma'at. We had to come up with some new ones because since we've come into the Western world, we've gotten spoiled from our ways. So in addition to the 42 that our ancestors gave us, which we could never touch because you don't disturb an ancestral legacy, you must always honor those. But you can add these two to them too. And guess what? When you say them long enough, they become ingrown in your consciousness. So after a while, you can put the paper down because you are now living it. You're living righteousness, balance, order, truth, reciprocity, sobriety, and propriety. Oh, by the way, tell Dr. Shaka I want to know where he gets his crowns.
I will. Oh, and thank you. Yes, family. I want to, make sure I say this. So Dr. Tashaka, I'm so excited. I'm going to be on his show on Saturday.
Oh, no.
I'll be interviewing him on his show.
I thought you were going to be the guest being interviewed.
You know what? I was like, that's what's up. And so, family, most of you guys are already following Dr. Oba Tashaka on YouTube. Make sure you follow him. I'm going to be on there on this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, so like 10 a.m. on the West Coast. So yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, you know what? I just love this love you guys are shooting back to each other. You and Dr. Tashaka. Yeah,
I honor all my elders. I honor Dr. J, Dr. Smalls.
Yes.
I remember I had spoken at Dr. Ben's wake, and I had just gotten off the rostrum, and guess who stopped me? It was Brother Hafiz from Mosque number 7. He pointed to my ankh. He said, "I want one of those." I said, "What?" Of course, he passed in the COVID epidemic, but I was amazed that he wanted an ankh. I said, "Do you think your Arab brothers and sisters will want to see you carrying the ankh?" He said, "I want an ankh." And he said, "I also want to get one for you know whom." I was in a state of shock.
Wow.
Because I used to make ankhs for Khalid. He used to wear his ankh on his pointer finger. And he used to go up to his Jewish friends up on 47th Street and get it loaded with diamonds, paved with diamonds. He lost his ankh 3 times. And I said to him, "Brother Khalid, Dr. Khalid, you know something? This is America. 3 strikes and you're out, so be careful." I remember he called me to give a prayer at the first Million Youth March in Harlem. I'm sharing some memories now with you, my brothers and sisters, of some of the people that I've met on this path. And he said, he called me about 2:00 in the morning, and I said, "Why? How did you get my number?" He said, "Never mind. I want you to come and pray. You have got to be the first. You have got to deliver the first prayer at the Million Youth March." Well, Dr. Khalid was late. He came in mopping his eyebrow. By that time, the Christian pastor had gone up. Christians. He went up to the pulpit and he began his prayer. And then the Yoruba was coming up. Well, that was Dr. Smalls, Brother James Small. He was coming up. And by that time, here came Khalid's mopping his brow. "Stop everything. This man here has got to deliver the first prayer." you know. And so I invited Queen to join me at the time we were together, and I invited her to join me because we always allow our women to deliver the first word. Because if they deliver you, they can speak in the church. They can speak in the temple. Don't tell me that the woman defiles the temple by speaking. When she's the one who spoke to you, say, hey, Johnny, don't do that. Spared your life from drowning, from touching that electrical pole there, or touching that socket in the wall. She spared your life in here, okay, when she could have sent you for another time. Because guess what? Those that you are now sending out of here, they're coming back. You can better believe. They're not wasted. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, that a woman has the power to decide when you will come or you will go. Oh, yes. See, sisters, you've got power. You've got power that some people who have a problem with you are trying to take away from you. Okay? There are men in this world who don't like you. And that's their problem, not yours. Because you remind them, oh, you don't like me? Well, then you don't like your mama, because her and I are connected in spirit. All women are connected in spirit, like all men are connected in spirit. So when you hurt one, you're hurting yourself, believe it or not. Yes, you are. Okay?
I tell you, yeah, you got to come on more often, Baba Heru. You got to come.
Just repeat the same thing over and over, please.
No, you're not. You broke down. Listen, if family, you guys can go onto our HapiFilm YouTube channel and check out Baba Heru's all of his interviews, and you can see this is like a whole new thing right here, Baba Heru. Yes, this is a whole new thing you're doing here. You're adding on to what you said before.
Well, I try to follow. I follow spirit. Because spirit I give my tongue to spirit. And that spirit is named Chehuti in our legacy.
Yes, 100%. Yes, you do. Family, you have got to make sure you share this video, like and share this video, comment, send it to at least 3. Jabario Zazi says you have to send it to at least 3 other people. Yes. And family, yes, if you are on YouTube, we are like just a couple hundred subscribers away from hitting 30K. You know, we just think about when we first got started doing this, it was during COVID, and we were about to premiere the HAPI film, the documentary, and then COVID happened. And so we were like, okay, you know, we got to figure out, you know, what to do, because you know, this COVID will probably just be for a couple of weeks, but we don't want to lose the momentum that we were building with, with the film. We had a little premiere. Well, it was kind of like a before premiere at Medgar Evers, and we're like, okay, in a month we're going to be at the Schomburg. We were planning this HAPI tour, and COVID happened. So, you know, we were thinking it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks. It ended up being, you know, still here. And so in that time, we started to come onto YouTube. We're like, we'll just interview people from the film every week. And we started off with Dr. Wade Nobles, and we actually had, Supernova came on. He's not in the film, but he came on, and I was like, wow, that's what's up. And so then we just kept going. And so we started off, I think we had like 200 people. And so now we're up to 30K. So, you know, this is really, you know, this is helping the HAPI movement, which I said are 4 principles: love Black people, support Black businesses. Baba Heru has a Black business. You guys need to support especially if if you're up here visiting from any other place, you know, you come to New York, make sure you check out Baba Heru.
Listen, you know, forgive me for interrupting you. But you see, I'm wearing Ptah and Sekhmet, this ring of Ptah and Sekhmet. So I have an altar on my finger. Okay, I'm wearing Set
on your fingers.
I got the eyes of Haru on my finger with the red, the black, and the green energy. I'm wearing this. I'm wearing the rough and the smooth of life. The smooth is the feminine lunar energy. The rough is the solar rough energy.
Yeah, raise up a little bit higher.
Okay, you see
Oh,
that?
yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
On my pinky here, I've got Sekhmet. Okay, very small pinky. That's the spirit. The pinky is symbolic of the spirit. And of course, I got a little bit of purple here. And I got Inyame Dua from Ghana, but I put an ankh inside that symbol instead of the little crosses. I'm wearing my art. You see with her wings spread there? Okay. And of course, Heru. Okay. The falcon. That's a great. These are wearable meditations.
Yeah.
On my neck, I have Ptah. By the way, this is what they stole the Oscar. They imitated the Oscar from this. Okay, and that's in brother in our brother's book. You know the one who I'm talking about, the one who wrote Egypt and the Potomac.
Yes.
On his daughter's Atlantis.
Yes.
What's his name? Go ahead. You remember?
I can't remember. I have a brain freeze.
Tony Browder.
What? Yes. Yes.
Yes. Tony Browder. I love that brother. You know, he's doing so much good work in Kimet. One of the first of us to go digging for our ancestral legacy in Kimet. And please support him. Brother Haru Hotep, Kemetic Yoga. He's another priest out there doing the work. I think he's now in Brazil. Support that brother. Oh yes, he's spreading Kemetic yoga all over the world.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, that's something I definitely want to get into. So you know what? I wanted to in closing, because you just been sitting on here chilling at the HAPI Talks with me, Baaba Heru. Yes, I had a question that I want to ask you about your like, when did you start? You know, in terms of your jewelry, when did you actually start knowing that this was your gift? Like, when did you start practicing doing this, carving beautiful pieces?
To tell you the truth, I was introduced to the man who told me that I had this gift I did not know. I used to stop to this jewelry store while I was pounding the beat in East New York on Sutter Avenue. Mm-hmm. And the proprietor, his name is Juan Vega. I said, Juan, yo quiero que saber cómo te trabajo en La Plata. I want to know how to work silver. He said, okay, come back here on a Saturday and you will meet this old man. His name is Anacleto, Santiago de Colón. And I went that Saturday, and this man came in there just as drunk as a fish. But he said, Jimmy, you want to learn the joyería? I said, yes. I said, you come. He said, you come to my house. I have a 10-family house in Williamsburg. In the basement, I have a whole shop. He said, I work up at 47th Street for the great Jewish jewelers up there, but I would like to teach you. I said, you want to teach me? You'll take me on as an apprentice? He said, yes. For 1 year, he would not let me do anything. He said, just watch me and take notes. And he said, by the way, do you know how to make models? I always tell the story how I had a friend who was, she was a Taurus and I'm a Leo, and I wanted to make a bracelet with a head of a lion and a head of a bull facing each other, the way I have Haru and Set facing each other. And I couldn't find, I had a ring of a lion, but I couldn't find the head of a bull. He said, let me see your hands. He said, you can do it. He bought me the tools, dental tools and surgical tools, what doctors and surgeons use to operate with. And he brought me some wax. And he taught me how to, he said, now go and make your own bull's head. 1 month later, I had a bull's head. He said, see, I told you could do it. So I give thanks to the NYPD for allowing me that opportunity. And it was also there that I found the biggest library of legacy books that anyone can have the joy of finding while I was pounding the beat. So I give thanks for that experience. And I give thanks for being present in order to spare some of my brothers from getting hit over the head, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Not just by some of them, but by some of us. Some of us can be very cruel when we put on the blue. There were not many of them, know that. The majority of men want to go home to their wives and families, okay? And they are just about concerned with living as any of us are.
Yes.
Why do brothers join the armed forces? Because of the pay. And some of them can't find jobs out here. So they join, and then they find themselves fighting old men's wars for them, okay? But they don't want to be killers. Some of them do, because it's in some of their blood, because humanity is like that. We have all kind of people, all kind of haters of life among us. You better believe you're seeing it come to the fore right now, right here, okay?
Yeah.
The husband of a famous woman was just had his head fractured in his own home, okay, because of the encouragement of this energy to rise here in this country. So we've got to be very careful walking the streets, because it's not only them we have to worry about. We have to worry about some of our own.
Yes.
So let's spread the word of my art, please, wide as far as you can.
Yes. Just one last question about your studio. What's the address of your studio?
55 Christie, CHRYSTIE Street, B105. Call me before you come, because I just don't have anybody just walking in here. The majority of people who come here, they know why they are coming, okay? And they want to wear the legacy and teach the legacy, because when you wear these emblems, they are silent teachers, okay? Yes. And I have here working with me that beautiful queen named Saqqara. She's named after that city. Yes, yes. And she helps to all of the pictures you see. She's a great photographer, and she puts them up there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yes, and she supports this work 110%, believe me.
Shout out to Saqqara.
Yeah, and everybody who comes in just loves her. She's got such a fantastic and light and beautiful personality, you know, and so when you come in here, you'll always be welcomed by a beautiful smile, because I always have to have, I can't do this alone, and just my male self. It's good to have a balance.
Yes.
Representing the divine feminine, you know, in my presence at all times. Yes.
Yes. Wow. Okay. So listen, family, we're gonna replay. It's 3 minutes, and it's like a treat for us. You know, even though Baaba Heru was like, you know, he keeps saying the same thing. He ain't saying the same thing. I'm telling y'all, and you guys know that to be true. So I'm gonna show this 3-minute piece. And Baaba Heru, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you.
I wish you would let me say one little thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Something I always repeat. Amasu enpa nkara. Sauk su ement ra enpa entera. Au kuaur maketi paherur. Amasu enpa nkara. Sauk su ement ra enpa entera. Aur maketi pa heru. Give yourself to the divine. Keep yourself daily for the divine, and do it tomorrow, just as you do it today. Tuau Intera. Give praises to the divine. Meratu, I love you.
Thank you. Thank you. So okay, wait, don't go nowhere, okay? I'm gonna put you backstage. We're gonna show the clip, and we're gonna
in the green room.
Yes, but do not hang, like don't go anywhere, okay?
Okay.
All right. Just give you a couple minutes. Do not go nowhere, Baaba Heru. I'm gonna call
I'll
you.
stay right here.
All right. Family, you know, you can make sure you are supporting this brother right here. There's the address. He said, call before you come. Don't just roll up over the street. Okay. Call before you come. Thank you, Baaba Heru. Now stay backstage, okay? All right, family. Make sure you are liking and sharing this video. And again, YouTube people, we are almost up to 30K. Make sure that you are subscribed. Actually, subscribe to our channel. Okay, so that and that you hit the notifications buttons. I'm going to show a special. This is a special clip that was made by Tahuti Film. Shout out to Seed for creating this for us. About Baaba Heru. It's really nice. I think somebody was asking about old videos and watching this live. You can always go to HAPI Film on YouTube to look at all the HAPI Talks. They are housed there. So you want to, check it out. And also, family, thank you for everyone who's given us love donations. We really appreciate those. It goes right back into the family. I think that's it. So I want to show this special clip of Baaba Heru. It's nice. I gave him a little taste earlier, just a little taste. Okay, let me just find it. There we go, right here. And so after this plays, we'll play the closing, so you guys won't see me. You're not gonna see me after this. So thank you, family, for for all the love out there for the HAPI family. Peace to Ron Spears, Black Matter Lives, Fruit of Life, Nahia, Travel Light, Deborah. You guys were all up in the house tonight. HAPI Doll House. And Tashi, I still say she has one of the best Facebook pages out there. She's always traveling somewhere. So shout out Kirku, Jay Ross, all of you guys. So this is the peace and blessings.
Iteru Kesbet, the Blue Nile, comes out of Lake Tana in Kush, or Kash, now called Ethiopia, and the Iteru Hedge, or the so-called White Nile, coming out of the Victoria Nyanza in central equatorial Africa. Now, these two rivers together, rivers are typically referred to as Iteru. However, they differentiate between these two by calling one the White Nile, coming out of central equatorial Africa, and the Blue Nile, coming out of Lake Tana. They meet together at Khartoum in the place now called Sudan. We used to call it Kenset, and from there it flows down to the lotus tributaries of the great Green Sea, now called the Mediterranean. I need to add that it seems as if the yearly menstruation of our river took place once a year, and there seems to have been a connection between something that was taking place cosmically, the rise of the star Ast Sepedet, known as Potolo to the Dogon, known as Sirius today. Once it rose in the eastern horizon every year, approximately 3 to 4 days after, the river would start to swell and would then begin to inundate the thirsty lands down to the northern region of the nation. It was at this place that we see this connection between heaven and earth, that this yearly cosmic event brought about HAPI. By the way, HAPI means a dual vital force. Hap means one force. HAPI means two forces, these two rivers. And here's something interesting that you will not read in any book. These two rivers correspond to the two women, Ast and her sister Nebethet, who brought the body of Asar together again. Now, if you look at Asar's body as the soil, which is parched and dry and split apart by the heat of the summer, you can understand now how these two rivers now coming together and meeting at Khartoum, they cooperated together and they went down to the parched delta to bring the body of Asar as the Iteru, as the river, back together again. to restore the food supply of the nation.
I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority. Honestly,
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?